Hey guys, I trust you're all doing well. It's a beautiful day today in Jamaica, and I decided to give you a little walkthrough of my vegetable garden. Now, you guys know that on this channel, my interests they're wide and varied, and I must tell you that I love gardening. As a child, I spent a lot of times with my dad going to his what we call in Jamaica bush or going to his ground which is basically a farm, maybe not a massive farm, that not a market farming type thing, but it was more than enough to provide food for the family, for friends, um, for neighbors, and to, if we needed to, sell. But for the most part, I think gungo peas, pigeon peas was what I knew that my dad sold for sure, because the production from the garden, from the farm, was so much. So that's where my interest started, and that was a plan I had for myself when I had my own place. I must say that before I bought my house, I would primarily only plant flowers. But now that I have my own place, you can see from the video I have on my channel that I have planted a few things and I've gotten to share quite a lot of things with neighbors and friends. Alright, so we're gonna start the video on the far side of the garden, and I left my shears out. Don't be like me, right? Take care of your tools. Alright, so garden is a strong word right now. Vegetable garden is a strong word right now, because for the regular viewers of my channel know that I've been suffering from breast cancer, and doing chemotherapy means that I am unable to do some stuff in my garden, right? So the garden is overrun by weeds. A lot of the vegetables have died. Some of them didn't just, ooh, bug, it's a bee, don't listen to me. Um, some of them were eaten by snails and by other insects, because I have not been able to come out in the garden. I'm still not able to do any work, but because I just did surgery. But as my son said, my garden is my superpower. Once I'm in the garden, I feel well. And so I want to take advantage of that and be here, just doing what I love to do. All right, so this is the far side of the garden. I haven't really used this side of the garden much. I do have some herbs growing here. You see that with the purple flower, purplish blue flower? That is vervine. The rest of it is weeds. It's basically weeds. These containers were heavily laden with, this one with sweet pepper, this with pak choy. So the garden was doing quite well before I reached certain aspects of my chemotherapy treatment. Um, I have rosemary growing in that off a drum container. This just weeds, only weeds. I'll be cleaning that up. As you can see, my garden is beside a forest, so a lot of stuff come through my fence. I don't have a wall on this side, so a lot of things come through the fence and come into the garden. Until I can put up a wall, I just have to do what I do. All right, so these dried vines are the remnants of a, what do you call this? This one is cowpeas. Cowpeas was growing here, and cowpeas did so well that they climbed onto the wall, went over the fence onto the neighbor's property, climbed up all up into this tree before that tree was cut down. It did so well. It went to the far side of the garden. This bed here, I also had sweet potatoes growing here. Those are done. The bed need to be beefed up with some nutrients and so on before I can do anything. Of course, cleaning up first. Also had eggplant growing there. Here we have been doing a little bit of lasagna gardening here, just throwing stuff, allowing them to compost in place to beef up the soil because the soil on the ground is not good at all. And so I tend to garden in planter boxes and so on. All right, so right here, what I have, this tree is a jackfruit tree. I had several of them growing, but I had to redesign the garden, and in redesigning the garden, I lost them. But I think I have one or two, maybe only one, maybe this one. So I'm being very careful of it. This is my lemongrass root. Love the tea. One thing I have doing really well within the fence of the garden and outside is pigeon peas. I have pigeon peas everywhere. I have this banana growing here. Coming down to the side of the garden, I have, that's a flower, and I have an East Indian mango growing there. I have ackee tree. This is an ackee tree. And right at the fence, I have, it's very windy, I have some Guinean weed growing. This bed here is empty. My son kind of fought it over today for me. This is where I had corn. So I just put some fertilizer in and left it. The corn didn't do too well. In this bed has a lot of weeds, but it has one of those horticultural June plum. There's another name for them, I don't remember. Has some little plums on it, but I have peppermint and I have leaf of life growing here. I think I have another plant, what they call dog blood in Jamaica. It is very good for women who are having their periods, painful periods. It tends to help with that. As I said, I do have a lot of pigeon peas. Right there, I have a ribena tree growing. You know, they grow to be massive things. So I need to start pruning this so that it spreads rather than grow too tall. Right here in the corner, I have a coconut tree. And in front of the coconut tree, I have pineapples. Across from the pineapple, I have a root of aloe vera doing quite well. And if you move down here, I have these two containers. This one had basil, but with the drought and so on, a lot of stuff died too. So the basil died, but I have a root of vervine still doing quite well in it. And for this bed, unfortunately, I had eggplants and the sweet peppers were quite fruitful, but the drought, these died. They were also being eaten. I have some cherry trees growing along this wall. I recently changed the chain link fence to the concrete wall here, so the garden needs to be sorted out on this side. You can see some potato vines running here. This bed my son also forked over for me. It does have some potato vines that left all the way from the left side of the garden, come all the way over here. And then I have two sweet pepper plant that survive, and some spinach that I thought had died, but they're coming back. Alright, so to the front of the garden, I have these Scotch bonnet peppers. I think I have like what? 1, 2, 3 of them, and then a little tiny sweet pepper tree lying there. All my sweet peppers died. But the Scotch bonnet pepper, they are bare and bare and bare and bare and bare. I've given away so much, I've used so much, and to be honest with you, some have even spoiled because they have been, the crop on these They're so good and they keep cropping because right now there are baby peppers on there and there are blossoms on it. So they keep doing well. Um, as you can see, rubble building material is still in the yard from where the work was done on the wall. But from this palm tree right here, I'll be extending the garden. As I said, it's quite windy, so bear with me. I'll be extending the garden, taking in all the way over to where that palm tree is leaning on the fence because it was moved to accommodate the wall. My yard is very weedy right now, but when I do that, when I do the expansion, I'll be taking in this papa tree. I planted some pimento trees as well, 2 of them right here and right in front of this bucket. And I have some more trees growing on the outside, the gungo trees. I have a coconut tree growing right there, and I have 2 baby plantain trees growing right there in the corner. In that blue tub, it had spinach, but those dried up. There are a little roots in there, and I think some seed coming up, but we'll see. Alright, thank you for staying with me in the store. In my last garden video, I promised to share with you the trees I have growing in my garden.